Hello again, my friends. So, 12:23 p.m. on December 31st, 2021. Almost to New Year's. So I'm going to be working on this movie through to this video through to New Year's. I'm chilling right now. I'm having some cocktails in a Subway cup. I'm so low class, low conscious, white trash. But anyway, watching Steppenwolf, 70s film with Max von Sydow and Dominique Sanda from the Hermann Hesse novel. Thinking about reviewing it, but anyway, it's playing. It's my last movie of the year. But my video here is going to be part two of the last video I did, which was my 15 worst first-time views of 2021. Movies I've seen for the first time ever in 2021, but not including 2021 new releases. So anyway, I made it through that. It was hard, and I went kind of over length for 15 videos. So anyway, on my letterboxd.com list, that's where I'm pulling these from. I had 50 movies that were my favorites that I'd seen for the first time in 2021, and I knocked them down to a more manageable 30 films. So these are going to be the best views of 2021 in the order in which I watched them. Not like the worst, where I said they're in the order in which I suffered through them. These are the ones I enjoyed. So they're not in order they're in order in which I saw them. So early in 2021, I saw this film St. Jack by this guy you guys have probably heard of called Peter Bogdanovich, a guy who I haven't seen a lot of his movies, believe it or not. I love Mask. I've only seen a few of his movies. I'm very familiar with him. I liked Star 80. I know he's a character in the movie. He didn't direct it. Bob Fosse did. But this was a 1979 film with Ben Gazzara. This was after his kind of Bogdanovich fame with Last Picture Show, which I haven't seen ever. Gas choke. I think my mom went to see it at the theater when I was a little kid. Yeah, never seen it. Know a lot about it, never seen it. So you can exile me to the bad cineast island. So here's the deal. So I liked St. Jack. I can't say it was extraordinarily memorable, but I thought Gazzara, he's great in Killing of a Chinese Bookie by Cassavetes. And I especially liked him in Tales of Ordinary Madness by Marco Ferrari, where he plays a kind of Charles Bukowski-ish character. It's based on Bukowski's novel of the same name. And so I've always dug Gazzara. He's got a good presence. I think correct me if I'm wrong, did he not play the father of Vincent Gallo in Buffalo 66? I should Google that. I really, really liked Buffalo 66. A few people who liked it when it came out kind of put me off of it. But when I finally actually watched it, I thought it was great. Yes, and he was the father. That's a hilarious movie. I need to get that on Blu-ray one day. So anyway, St. Jack, thumbs up. So the next one's going to be Dreamland by Bruce McDonald. It's from, I guess, 2019. It's his follow-up of sorts to Pontypool that he also did with Stephen McHattie, a great and underrated actor who I really love. His wife, Lisa Hull, was in both films. Her role in Dreamland's kind of small. She's great in Pontypool. And there's a weird thing at the end of Pontypool, which now makes more sense. There's kind of a after the credit sequence where they're playing the characters they play in Dreamland. Okay, so it gets complicated because McHattie plays two different characters in Dreamland. And I'm not saying either of those characters are the same character as Grant Mazzy, the character he plays in Pontypool, but I don't know. It's weird. In and of itself, Dreamland's not as memorable as Pontypool, but it's a trip. I mean, in the sense that it's very strange and bizarre, very engaging. Henry Rollins is in it. He's good. Juliette Lewis. So I dug it. The next movie, Time Crimes, Spanish 2007 science fiction movie, very low budget. This director is named Nacho Vigalondo, and the star is Cara Alejaldo. And I gotta say, man, this movie was great. I didn't review it on the channel when I first saw it. I wanted to, but it's very complex, but not impossible to keep up with. I guess some people would compare it to Primer, another kind of low budget complicated time travel, time paradox movie. Primer is really good. I prefer Time Crimes. It's a little more lively, eccentric, and you can tell the writer director he he keeps track of all these threads. He same guy directed it, wrote it, and so as this guy keeps time traveling in order to correct these mistakes in his life, he keeps making more and creating more like alternate branch off realities and trying to fix it, and it's a mess. It's a very funny movie, very kind of creepy movie in a way. I mean, I don't want to say it's a horror movie, but it was kind of marketed sort of as a horror science fiction movie. Uh, it's a genre bender. I really recommend it. So then the next movie I dug was Day of the Beast, 1995. It took me all these years to finally see it. I rented it when it first came out in '95 on VHS from Cockbuster Video. I'm sorry, I can't help calling them that. I've been calling them that for 25 years. Um, but I couldn't really get into it because the dubbing was bad. It was pan and scan. It was probably cut. You remember the days when Cockbuster was like, "Man, we know what's good for you to watch. We're gonna trim this film to where it's acceptable." Or if it's like Last Temptation of Christ or something, we're just not gonna let you watch it. We know what's good for you on a moral level. So let's all thank Cockbuster for their moral jurisprudence on our behalf. And rest in peace, or peace, or burn in hell, depending on both, depending on how you look at it. So the next movie I reviewed also here, I think is really incredible, called Dogtooth, by Yorgos Lanthimos. This one came out in 2009. I think he's hit the law of diminishing returns. I think I've seen all of his movies. He's only maybe done 5 features. I think this was the first. Each one, I think, has gotten significantly weaker than the one before it. The Favorite, I thought was horrible. Dogtooth is a winner. It's kind of Lars von Trier-ish, and I love Lars von Trier, warts and all. I know he's an acquired taste. Some people who liked him lost their taste for him around the time of Antichrist. But I gotta say, Dogtooth is good. It's got that kind of subdued, almost robotic kind of acting style he employs in all of his movies. But this one, actually, there's a payoff and it builds the thing. So when intense things do happen, they're more powerful. So yeah, I recommend Dogtooth. The next one I also reviewed, called Sick Nurses. This is a Thai film from Thailand. It's also in 2007. Pirafon Loyant and Thotsapol Siruawant. And this one, I guess I would characterize as kind of a, I don't know, a horror, soap opera, erotic thriller, as only Thailand could make. No, I'm kidding. I just haven't really seen anything quite like it. I've seen some things that definitely like it. Some of the Category 3 Hong Kong films, definitely. I just thought it was hilarious. So anyway, very trashy, but enjoyable. Next is Next is Dragged Across Concrete by Greg Zoller. I liked his Bone Tomahawk. I really liked I'm going to get this title wrong because it's so redolent of exploitation films, and deliberately so. This film called Brawl in Cell Block 9-9. Okay, so I had it wrong. He's just done these 3 features. Yeah, I liked that one a lot with Vince Vaughn. That was my favorite Vince Vaughn part, other than season 2 of True Detective. I thought Vaughn was great. But anyway, this one's really good. It was kind of mischaracterized as like a pro-conservative film about 2 racist white cops, and actually there's a lot of ambiguity there with the racial aspect in the story, and especially with the Mel Gibson character, and I think that was almost stunt casting, but Gibson plays it straight, though he does have some funny moments. It's like he's kind of struggling, his character is struggling with this insane scenario they find themselves in, which is really tense and weird in this parking lot, which goes on for a while. And it's kind of tragic. Vaughn's character is married to a black woman, and they're not racist, and everybody kind of gelled over that. So I defend this movie on that grounds. I don't know much about the controversy. I just know Zoller caught a lot of hell. It's possible in real life he is a white racist, but he's definitely depicting not these two white cops as white racists. They're just frustrated with the system. Race is part of it because they're white cops, and there's a lot of corruption. So actually, the Mel Gibson character, he is like, I'm getting fucked over by the system because all the corrupt people and everybody thinks I'm bad, and so I'm kind of going to be bad. But it's not really like he's going to go out and kill a bunch of black people. He's really just trying to cash in by committing a crime so he can retire with money. So they're all kind of victims of the system, and I think that's well done. So anyway, Miracle Mile is next on my list. That's another one. It took me a million years to finally see. With Anthony Edwards, who was later in ER, Mayor Winningham, Nicolette Williamson is great in this, an early role. Denise Crosby. This was around the time of her being Tasha Yar, Deep Space Nine. Oops, that's my favorite Star Trek. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Before they killed her off, which she wanted to leave, then regretted it. Robert Dukai is in the Dokwai. He's great in everything from Coffee to Nashville, and Olan Jones plays this kind of bizarrely sexy waitress and seems to reprise the exact same role 6 years later in Natural Born Killers. So I'm assuming that Oliver Stone was a fan of Miracle Mile. It's very 80s, and I don't mean in a bad way, very excessive, over the top, melodramatic. It's like the end of the world, apocalypse plus romance, plus kind of bizarre comedy. But it's of its time. In '88, a lot of us were still scared about the world being destroyed in this fashion because we had Ronald Reagan as president. For a film that really shows it what it would have been like if these maniacs had their way, you should check out another film that I reviewed on here, Threads, 1984 British film, which that's really one of the worst, most harrowing horror films I've seen because that could have happened. And with the Russiagate and new Cold War going on, it very possibly could happen still. So anyway, I don't know how much progress we've made in 30 some years, but I am going to attempt to pause this